Daf Mem Daled. Says the Mishnah, a baby girl, a newborn baby girl, can be a full-fledged Niddah because it says in the pasuk V'isha, the extra vav says even a baby. And the Parsha of Ziva says V'isha, tells us that a baby girl can be a full-fledged Zava, 7 days plus 3 days of Zivos. So if she's 10 days old, she can be a full-fledged Zava. Same thing applies to a baby boy. He can be a full-fledged Zav because it says Ish, or it says Lazachar Vilan Akeva. And if you say Lazachar Vilan Akeva, Ish is just the way the Torah speaks. Babies are in the Parsha of Negoim, of Teras, because it says Adam, any type of person. They're in the Parsha of Tumas Meis, because it says all types of nefashis. A boy is in the Parsha of Yibam, he could be a Yavam even when he's a day old. It says Kiyeshu Achim Yachdav, he's Zoykik Yibam. And if his mother had him, he's alive, then the mother is not as Kukal Yibam, because it says Uvein Ein Loi, and here he has a child. If his mother was a Israelis who married a Kayin, she continues eating Truma, because it says Yoichlu Belachmai, which is referring to the Shvachais. However, you could read it Ya'achidu Belachmai, that the son has the ability to cause his mother to eat Truma. There are two psukim when it comes to a Bas Kayin who married a Yisrael, that the children that she has make her unable to eat Truma. One of them is referring to an uber if she's pregnant, and one of them is referring to full-fledged baby, and is it tzrichusa for both, because it says zera einla, because right now there's two bodies, and when she's pregnant it's only one body, so I would say that pregnancy does not cause her to lose out. On the other hand, it says kinurel, that her body is like when she was before, and when she's pregnant her body is not like before. That's why I would say pregnancy is worse than having a child, because now if she has a child, her body is empty as before. The reason why the Mishnah says that this baby is a day old, instead of just saying that she's even pregnant, because we're talking about a kohen who married a grusha illegally, and they had a child, and that child is a challah. Now that he dies, that child causes all the avadim to not be able to eat truma. If the mother is just pregnant, it wouldn't cause, that uber wouldn't cause the avadim not to eat truma. Rabbi Yosi says amazing chiddush. He says that even if the uber is a kosher, it comes from a kosher marriage, the fact that the mother is pregnant ruins it for the avadim to eat the truma. It's only when she has a full-fledged uber, a newborn, then they could eat the truma. It says in the Mishnah that a baby child, a boy, is noichel manchel. When it comes to Yerusha, he inherits and gives over inheritance. So one shot is that he inherits from his mother her estate, and then he dies, he gives it all over to his brothers from his father's side. So he can take the estate from his mother's side and move it over to the father's side. Another pshat is, and we have to say that a uber dies before his mother. So if the mother dies, the uber will die before her, and he's not able to inherit bekever. Therefore, the Mishnah says that he was alive for 1 day. Even though we see that perhaps sometimes you see the baby moving after the mother dies, but that's only like the tail of a lizard. The halacha is that if a person leaves over a pregnant wife, and she's pregnant with twins, and then he dies, the Bechar doesn't receive 2 portions because it says Yakir. The father has to know his son, and in this case, he died before the son was born, therefore he doesn't receive 2 portions. The Gemara says there's basically 4 cases, and this explains why the Mishnah says that he was alive for 1 day. In a typical case, let's take, for example, in all our examples, an inheritance of $6,000. If there's just a Bechar and a Pashut, 2 brothers, so the Bechar receives 4,000, and the Pashut receives 2,000, the Bechar receives 2 portions. If there are 3 brothers, the Bechar receives 3,000, and each brother receives 1,500. What happens if this Uber was alive for 1 day? What happens is that he causes his brother, the Bechar, a loss of $250. Why? Because if there are 3 brothers, then the Bechar receives 3,000, each brother receives 1,500. When the Uber dies, you take the 1,500, divide it into 750, and you give it to each brother. So now the Bechar ends up with 3,750 versus 4,000. There's an interesting halacha though. What happens if the father dies, and after the father dies, the Uber is born? In that case, the Bechar inherits immediately 2,000, that's his portion. The 4,000 that is left over, you divide by 3, each brother receives 1,333. So the Bechar receives 3,333. If the Uber dies, you take his 1,333 and divide it in half, that's 666.66. And you give the Bechara his portion, it ends up that the Bechara receives exactly 4,000 as if the Uber never existed. So this whole halacha, says the Mishnah, is if the Uber was alive for one day, then there's a difference that the Bechara receives $250 less than 4,000. If you kill an Uber, you chayiv misa, it says, Ish kiyake kol nefesh, any nefesh. And the Mishnah finishes off saying that he's like a chas and shalom, meaning that you have to do avelos on this Uber that's only a day old. Now, if the pregnancy lasted a full-fledged 9-month pregnancy, everybody agrees that this child is not an eifel, even if he didn't last for 30 days. However, if it's a pregnancy that's less than 9 months, then Reb Shimon Gamliel says it's a suffix whether he's an eifel if he didn't last for 30 days. The Mishnah says that there are halachas benegeh to a girl who's 3 years old. Once she's 3 years old, the kedushin of bia is taifas in her, a yavam is koina her, and she's a eshes ish and chayiv misa over her. She's metama her husband, mishkav tachtin ke'elyon of a zav, like the begadim of a zav. It's a lesser tuma. She eats truma when she marries a kohen, and a puzzle passes her from kahuna, from truma. All the arayas who are with her, they die because of her, but she herself doesn't die. She's only 3 years old. Less than 3 years old, says the Mishnah, is like putting your finger in an eye. In other words, it means that the psulim will be replaced, and her bia is not considered a bia. Remeir says that a 3-year-old is miskadeshes, and Chacham say you need 3 years old and 1 day. What's the nafkamina between the two? Nafkamina is if she was miskadesh bebia one erev before the night before she became 4 years old. According to Remeir, 3 years old, that includes that night, and according to Chacham, you need the following day. Therefore, she's not miskadesh. According to Rabbi Yochanan, the nafkamina is that according to Remeir, 30 days of a year is considered a full year. Therefore, if she's 2 years old and 30 days, the 30 days has a chashivos to complete the whole year, and that's enough to be mekadesh for bebia. According to Chachamim, you need a full 3 years. The Gemara brings a brisa that's a right to Rabbi Yochanan, because it says in the brisa that a girl that's 2 years old and 1 day is miskadesh bebia. In other words, according to the Haman Omar, chashivos is 1 day, but you see the concept that 1 day or 30 days is as if it's a whole year, and that would be a kasha on Rabbi Yanai, who says the other pshat have a wonderful day.